A police officer in Chicago says he's going to sue the city of Tempe, claiming he was falsely arrested last summer.
Yeah, that whole incident was caught on a body cam. 12 News journalist Erica Stapleton has more. Erica?
Back in August 2024, when Chicago police officer Jalen Woods came to town to celebrate his friend's birthday. He was off duty when he was driving in downtown Tempe when an officer on a bike goes up to his car and asks for his ID, saying he was pulling him over for chirping his tires, essentially revving the engine. When he pulls over, Woods is asked to get out of the car and then asked to get on the ground. Woods is a police officer, so he's asking why, and then things get tense.
I don't have to do that.
Yes, you do. I'm telling you to sit down.
I don't, bro.
Sit down or we're going to put you on the ground, dude.
Put me on the ground then.
I did comply. Just immediately after I got out of the vehicle, I was placed in handcuffs and told I was arrested. And the one officer told me to get on the ground or he was going to put me on the ground. And I still don't know what he meant by that because people that get shot get put on the ground. People that get tased and beat up or, excessive force used on them, they get put on the ground. Is that what was meant when he said that to me? I still don't know to this day.
Woods was ultimately arrested for exhibition of speed, essentially revving his engine. He spent the night in jail and ultimately the case was dropped. Now his attorney filed a notice of claim with the city of Tempe, a first step before a lawsuit. The claim accuses the city of Tempe and some of its police officers of, quote, malicious prosecution and false arrest, among other things. Woods and his attorney also believe he was targeted because he's black. Tempe PD in a statement told us that the Tempe Police Department strongly denies the false allegations in the notice of claim submitted on behalf of Officer Jalen Woods. There was no discrimination against Officer Woods for his race or any other reason. He was treated no differently than anyone else.
So let's take a legal deep dive into this case. Joining us now is criminal defense attorney Hector Diaz of Diaz Law. Hector, we saw the video there. I mean, it looked like officers seemed a little bit aggressive. I mean, were they aggressive for him just chirping his vehicle?
You know, we were talking a little bit earlier about this, and I don't know the last time that a person was arrested and booked. Essentially, he was booked. He was kept there overnight and kept in jail and then cited for, essentially squealing his tires. Now, it's one thing if he's racing, right? That is something that most cities have been just absolutely investigating and prosecuting for obvious reasons, right? The reckless driving. But I had a chance to read the press release, and I'll be honest with you, I thought it was actually a little lame in terms of how it read because, and again, we haven't seen the body cam in its entirety and had the benefit of interviewing any of these officers, but the arrest that happened so quickly just seems odd. Typically in these kinds of, again, it's criminal, but again, we're talking about a traffic offense.
Yeah,
and
it wasn't egregious.
Well, I'll add too, Hector, that I was able to watch some more of the body camera footage, and there was definitely some confusion. He is a police officer. You can tell he knows the law. He's talking about it, but he said, I didn't realize that was anything in Arizona. He seems confused as to why he was initially even being pulled over. He noted that, there weren't any lights, there weren't anything. This officer shows up on a bike, and he's trying to ask questions to understand what's happening.
Yeah, it had to be a little off-putting too, getting pulled over by a bicycle. There are, officers are riding bikes in Tempe, but, the thing that just stood out to me was just the, arrested, cited, had his vehicle towed, and then booked for essentially a traffic offense. Again, criminal, but I've had clients that have been charged with DUI, investigated for DUI, and they're not immediately arrested in that situation. And most of these situations, the officers can smell the alcohol. They, can see that there's some issue here, and yet the way they're handling it is with a level to de-escalate it. And here it seems, again, from what we've read and what we're seeing, that wasn't the policy that was taken here.
So obviously the notice of claim, that's the precursor to a lawsuit. What do you think will happen? Do you think that they'll settle, or do you think they'll go forward?
No, I think the city's going to have to dig in here. I think that they're going to back their officers. They're going to do their own internal investigation, but I think they're going to, they don't have to respond to the notice of claim if they don't want to. I suspect they will and say, if you think there's a viable lawsuit here, bring it.
I'll add too that part of the statement there, we showed a portion of it. They said that they have already determined their officers did nothing wrong during that traffic stop, and that we're able to request that internal affairs investigation for full transparency, is what they said.
Okay, well, we will see. All right. And we're going to see you in the next half hour as well, because we're going to be talking about Lori Vallow's first sit-down TV interview behind bars. Thank you both. Troy?
Coming up.